Hey, we're on day 4, 7-step RF 20, 30-year health and life goals. So people that aren't in Elite are going, what the heck are you talking about? Well, this is what's unique to Elite. So first of all, you go through day 1, day 2. And one of the reasons people don't commit for everybody that does day 1, day 2. Now I started this, let me back up for a sec. Let's go back to the story, because when I started on day 1, I said I got to 120 a day, and for the life of me, for 11 years, I couldn't get to 125, right? And then all of a sudden, oops, boom, we went to 230. How did that happen? Well, one of the things I did was stop giving the recommendations on day 2. Why? Because I don't know what the percentages are, but there's some people that are very outcome oriented. I mean, you tell them where you want to go. They just want to get to the end. They don't care about the process. By the way, those are the people that tend to be very successful. Why? Because they keep their focus on the outcome and they don't get stuck in the steps. Then there's process people. Process people love the steps, which is great. I mean, there's significance, there's importance in every step. But when a process person puts so much emotion into every step, those tend to be the people that get stuck and they don't make decisions right away. So process people, you may be able to start them. They have to think about it. Well, I don't have the money. What are you going to hear? Time and money and blah, 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 because you just didn't give them enough time. And so on day 2, another reason we have a 3-day system is because if you think about it, you're giving them a whole lifestyle. They're looking at their condition and you're literally shifting their belief system into living their life with them and their family differently and giving them generational purpose. Well, that could be a lot to process. And you gave them the Back to Health book. So that's a lot to process. So what we do is we do short time and money, meaning just a couple days to the workshop. Could be the next day, could be in 3 days or 5 days. And then so time and money are very short. It's not an obstacle. We get to adjust them a few times. That's a whole nother system of communication. How you frame what the adjustment healing experience is, that's a whole nother thing. And then they go to the workshop. Now, I'm sure that just about everybody on here taught a workshop before, and you're listening to the recording. Almost everyone has taught a workshop. Not everyone teaches them now. And you would probably agree the patients that went to a workshop, if or when you taught them, typically stay longer, they get it better, and your PVA is going to be better with those people. They understand lifestyle better, and they're just going to stay longer, and they don't have as many questions. So if you want to make it easy, the workshop is a way to leverage how you teach, because they have to understand why the phase of care, why Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What are you really doing? What's the purpose? Why they can't miss appointments? All this stuff. If you don't give that to them, it affects the percent kept appointments. That's a problem. It creates a lazier mindset. You get people, well, I'll call and, I'm busy and, all the things that you've heard. And you don't have time on a day 2 ROF. But if you don't tell them, then it affects your purpose. Now, that's a big thing. Now, how did we start this? What purpose do you have? What type of patient do you want to create? And what impact do you want to have? Well, if you want to create a person with purpose that's going to not only break generational patterns, but change the healthcare for generations to come. I mean, geez, man, it's an hour, right? It's not that hard, because then you have time to talk about generational patterns, and I don't need to convince you on why it's great, because everybody already knows it. And what it does is it narrows the amount of people that won't commit become far less. I mean, you're going to get better commitments, you're going to get better referrals, and your workshop is your number one new patient tool. So, three things that I did that moved us from 120 a day to 230 a day. One was I switched to a 3-day system. Two, I mastered the workshop. So that way I learned how to teach the workshops. They understood lifestyle, I understand generational patterns. Three, I got the re-exam so I could keep them. And this is another mistake the profession makes, is the re-exam is lifelong retention. The first week isn't lifelong retention. That has a limited time frame because they forget. The re-exam is the key. So when I mastered the 8-step re-exam, then I was able not only to get all the old people on track, but keep people on track. The next thing is they have to have a long-term vision. So 7-step ROF is where in the workshop we set 20, 30-year health and life goals. And what's that do? We find their purpose. Where do they want to be in 20, 30 years? So it creates an unstoppable person that knows they are absolutely certain they are investing in the rest of their life with chiropractic. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And this makes time and money so easy. So what I'm going to do is always, we're going to start with the mindset. What type of patient and mindset do you create before you go into the 7-step ROF? Now, we do a day 2, so they've already seen their x-rays. So this is a short ROF. You get right to the point, find their purpose and their values. So let's go through this, and I'll show you exactly how to do this. Now, this ROF, 7-step ROF, is only in elite. Why is it only in elite? Two reasons. One, I went through life coach training 20 years ago. I've been taking people through breakthroughs for over 20 years, life-changing breakthroughs, and I bring that into elite. So that's where it came from, because, hey, where there's no vision, people perish. So this is a life coaching interview. Secondly, I got this tool from Tony Robbins, Business Mastery, and I'm going to show you what those principles are on how to create lifelong raving fans. So our day 1, day 2 boot camp, perfect day 1, day 2, is like UPW. How do you get a person to walk across 2,000-degree coals and create an unstoppable person and say, yes, this is my healthcare lifestyle for the rest of my life and my family? Business Mastery is how to create lifelong raving fans. And so that's the retention part. This is get them across the fire. Oh, this is the retention part. But we're going to get them across the fire, and then we're going to have them keep the vision so they can get to what's on the other end of that fire. So here we go. Let me move all this around again. My apologies. This is Elon Musk. I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. This is the whole principle of elite, is taking ordinary people to choose to be and live an extraordinary life. And that's raising their standards. We said that the other day. Why do people quit? We didn't help them raise their standards. That's it. Their standards weren't high enough. Now, here's the key. Your standards have to be so high that when you talk to people, or when they're in your presence, they can feel it. So I already said this before. Every morning I get up in I do my wobble chair, I do arthrostim mirror image posture exercise, I do my green drinks, I do all that, then I go work out. At night, I use a Pedimon 6-way stretching strap. I hang off the banister in the stairway. I decompress my spine. I feel L5 release on the sacrum and everything in between if it needs it. And then I lay on the dental roll. Every night, my dental roll goes with me when we travel. Why? Flexion is death, extension is life. I believe it. I want to be 100%. I don't believe in the aging process. I don't buy into it. We're going to slow it down. And we got stuff to do, man. This is a temple. God is in the temple, and the temple is within us. So if we have a God-given purpose, then we have to be unstoppable so they feel that unstoppable spirit in us. And then when you bring that out, because you put yourself in an unstoppable state, and when they feel it, they want to be the same. Because, and this is another thing we go through, Tony Robbins from Mastering Influence and Business Mastery. Influence is the transference of emotion. They got to feel what's inside of you to be able to feel it in them. And then you gain the skill. Remember, we master consciousness first, and then we master our skill. So here we go. I'll have to move the stuff all over the place. So this is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. He wrote a book called The Infinite Game. Infinite games have no finish line. And the goal to keep the game going the goal is to keep the game going as long as possible. We are playing an infinite game. Why? Universal intelligence and innate intelligence, right? We want to change generations that go way past our lifetime. We want to create a legacy that's bigger than our lives. We're setting the frame for generations that we will never meet. That's an infinite game. Generational patterns. So once you realize that, now your consciousness is operating on an infinite divine state. You can only channel God, universal intelligence, through you when you have an infinite mindset. And that's who we are anyway. How are you going to do things where, Matthew 19:26, how do I know it's 19:26? I had to look at that, even though it's tattooed on my arm. With man, it may be impossible, but with God, all things are possible. That is an infinite mindset. And that's why our purpose is to change healthcare. Visionaries are truly infinite minded. You can't, if you're not infinite minded, you're limiting the transference of emotion that you're sending to your patients. They feel it. We are emotional beings. We emote. You give off electromagnetic field that resonates that vibrates at the frequency of your level of consciousness. So when you are infinite minded, you have an infinite consciousness, they're going to feel it. Now they know. Now they become unstoppable. They don't have limitations all of a sudden. Do you envision every patient living chiropractic as their primary health care and bringing everyone they know into chiropractic for the rest of their lives? That's purpose. Now, where did all this come from? Well, that was that Wednesday afternoon. You guys heard the story before. I got whatever, 20 some odd or however, 20, 30 people in there. And I'm looking around and I said, how many people were with me 6 months ago? More than 6 months ago. 70% were within 6 months. Literally in between adjusting tables, hung my head down like this. And I said, how do people make life? Well, first I said, how do I get all my patients to look at chiropractic like I do? That means we have to create chiropractors. That means they're not going to think twice. That means they're not going to go to medicine. That means they're going to live a completely different life. And that means they have the purpose to tell everybody to know, and they have a purpose to impact generations. And from that one question, Tony Robbins says, the power of your life is determined by the power of the questions you ask yourself. I remember the minute. I remember it like it was yesterday, and it was 1998. So how many years is that? It's a bunch of years, right? So a little under 20 years. So why would I remember that? Because it's associated with a life-changing emotion. That's why. So how can I forget? And that's what I'm teaching you. This isn't patient education. This is patient experience. And that's the difference. We are changing healthcare. Look how the word R is capitalized. Why is that? It's already done. Now we got to go through the process. Romans 12:12. I call it done in Jesus' name. Romans 12:12. Do not conform to the patterns of this world. What's that mean? Change beliefs. We're standing up, man. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Establish new, more empowering beliefs that create a new world. That's it. That's it right there. You're a visionary world changer. So we show this in the boot camps. By the way, I take all these slides from the boot camps, boot camp 1 and boot camp 2. Perfect day 1, day 2, perfect retention. So this is a metaphor for an eagle flying at 10 feet. That is the elevation of the eagle is a level of consciousness. Eagles have crows. They got to compete with crows at low altitude, compete for food. Crows pester them, right? That's a big crow or a small eagle, because usually the size difference is bigger. Crows fly like a fighter jet, right? And the eagle's more like a big fueling jet, right? They're not as agile, they're powerful and they're fast, but they're bigger. They don't move the same way. So crows continually bother eagles. So the eagle is the level of consciousness, the elevation. The crows are all the problems. The crows are the patients with objections. So what do you have to do? You got to get 1,000 feet where there's no crows. You have to be able to see objections not as objections, but as something they just don't know. There's no difference. If you raise any kids and they're 5 years old, I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to brush my teeth. I don't want to eat Brussels sprouts. It's like, okay, fine, you don't have to eat Brussels sprouts, but you do have to brush your teeth. So that's the thing, right? They just don't understand. So once you're at 1,000 feet, you don't see objections as obstacles. You see them as opportunities. As a person who's lived a certain life, they're telling you the thought processes at their level of consciousness because they want to be in a divine consciousness. They're a spiritual being. They want to be free. They want to have 1,000% of these move to them. They want to be healthy. They want to fulfill their purpose. They want to connect with God inside them, but they don't know how to get there. And so the objection is an opportunity to change a belief system that they innately know is holding them back. And that's all they are. So once you're up there, first of all, if they're talking to you and you're 1,000 feet, what are they going to do? They got to look up. And if they really want, if you've created a connection, they want to be where you are. That is innate. They can't not be that way because they're created in the likeness and image of God. What am I doing right now? What did I just do? I gave you my empowering beliefs. And I believe that's true, right? Energy moves from higher to lower. But if you refuse to lower your consciousness, they will rise up to you. That's the problem in chiropractic. We've allowed patients and their objections to control our focus. Now, when you go to high volume guys, no way a patient controls their focus. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to get to the volume they are, right? They take the patient to their focus, and that's the difference. So before you go through this and you're reading their 20, 30-year health and life goals, you have to be at 1,000 feet. You better be at 1,000 feet before you even teach the workshop. So before I tell why, because this is the report right after, and you have to influence every decision in their health for the rest of their life. So my team would get people seated and arranging. I would stop probably 10 minutes before. I would go lock myself in the bathroom, meditate in the bathroom because that was the only place where I could find privacy. And then I would say, just like Moses before the burning bush, right? Moses denies God 5 times, right? What's your name again? That's right. Yeah, what's your name? Yeah, you don't have a name tag, but the bush is burning. And then he says, I'm slight of speech. And God says, I will beat your mouth. So that's what I used to pray before every workshop. God, I don't know what they need to hear to change their life, but you do. So you have to be my mouth, right? Yeah, I'm going to follow the PowerPoint, but it's everything you say in between the bullets of why they want to change their life. It's how you apply it to your audience. And that's it. Show me what they need to hear to change their life for generations to come so they don't ever have to go back to sorcery again, pharmaceutical. And that's it. And then I would take deep breaths and I would just go out there and free my mind. So that's powerful. Now you got to see with insight, not with eyesight. What's that mean? You have to see them living the life they want to live, not staring at just the human body. With insight, we do this in the healed seminars called soul gazing, where you look into someone's eyes. You look into their eyes, and there's mirror neurons. You're exchanging eternal feelings, like we are two eternal inborn universal beings. They feel it with direct eye contact. You don't look at a person, you look in a person. That's connection. You're not just looking at them and talking at them. You're speaking to them. You're speaking to their heart. You're looking in their eyes. You got to see them, see it as already done. And then you'll know the process. Your intuition will tell you the process. Of course, we have systems and everything that's like the boards and the glass. We already talked about it earlier this week. But if you don't see it with the insight first, how can you get there? And this is trusting and knowing you're an infinite being, and you don't have to think about it. If you're thinking, you're not being infinite. And there's more information going from your heart. It's proven by the Heart Math Institute, 40,000 sensory neurites. There's more information going from your heart to your brain than there is from your brain to your heart. You can have the thoughts of God. Your heart can tell your mind what to think, and your mind can obey, because your mind with a capital N is the mind of God, where there's unity. And when you tap into all that, everybody's going to commit, and they're going to sign up everybody, and they're going to get it. So for years, optimal spine, optimal health. Man, I touted this louder. I mean, I didn't have a megaphone. Like in the military, we have those Jeeps, and then it has the really big megaphone. I touted optimal spine, optimal health with one of those driving around, right? Obviously, metaphorically. And then I realized optimal spine, optimal health is the problem. And you think, what are you talking about? Why is that an obsolete model? Because optimal spine is a result, especially if you're doing CBP and spinal correction. I fixed it. Okay, we're done. That's healthcare. You fix their spine, what do they attain? Optimal health. Optimal health. Now, we know both as lifestyle, but how many times have you explained it and people quit? Because to them, it's a result and they got it. And you're the greatest guy ever. I was at a CVP seminar, and a guy said, a great guy, great practice. And they said, yeah, we had this guy come in, it was 2 years ago, and he quit 2 years ago because we fixed his spine. And then he got in an accident and he came back. And he said, I need to fix my spine again. And I thought the CVP audience was going to give him a standing ovation. And I'm sitting there thinking, why did he quit? Because you gave him an optimal spine, optimal health model. He quit because they got the result. So what is the model? And I was given this, God gave me this, my innate gave me this. I was walking through the gym one morning, and this is what I saw. I was superset on back day. I do pull down superset with pull up. So I was walking over the pull up bar, and it was, I had to walk about 20 feet. So as I was walking, all of a sudden, like a Rolodex of these pictures, I was no longer in the gym. I was getting these visions, and I saw an equilateral triangle. And this is why the logo for Elite is an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle in sacred geometry is the energy of deity. It's the energy of God. It's also the strongest geometric structure on Earth, water. is, if you look at two hydrogen and oxygen, is a equilateral triangle. Muscles pull at 30, 60, 90 degrees. So if you split that down the middle, now you have a right angle, and your muscles pull on the spine. These are all 60-degree angles, 30, 60, 90 degrees. And that's why the curves are physical leverage. So what's this model? Well, what's first? Well, what's first is the optimal mind. If you don't fix the subluxation between their ears, it's over. That's why they're going to quit. So what's the optimal mind? You got to change beliefs. Health is energy, life is energy, what they didn't know, what they weren't told, and what they didn't do. That's the only thing you're solving. They never took care of their spine and nervous system. The only problem they have is lifestyle. And lifestyle was determined by their belief system. Now, what do we typically do? Then we go to, well, let's get to optimal spine first. No. If you sell optimal spine first or second, that's why they quit. So what do? We sell optimal life. We teach them lifestyle, and then that's the problem we're solving. Everything after they're corrected. What's that? How do you want to live? Remember, 4 mindsets. How do you want to use your body in a way that creates disease rather than health? Remember, there's 4 mindsets. Health is, and life is energy. You didn't know that. Can you see why you ended up this way? Right? What's the third one? How do you want to live? And when they commit, we're going to teach you how to use your body in a way that creates health rather than disease for the rest of your life. Because what if your job changes? What if you have trauma and your posture changes? You got to get your extension curves. Flexion is death, extension is life. This is what we teach. Now, to get to an optimal life, what do they have to go through? See, when they want to run through the tape at the Boston Marathon, they got to run 26.6 or whatever miles it is. So mile 13, what are they in the middle of? Optimal spine. They have to go through optimal spine to begin to live an optimal life. So we don't do optimal spine. We do optimal life. And then when they're very clear on how they want to live, how do I get there? Now that's your corrective program. That's health recovery. So intensive, corrective, and stabilization are one umbrella. Health recovery plan. This is the model to get 9 out of 10. How cool is that? That's a great model. God gave me that one. Okay, let's move all this stuff around again. Sorry, you guys. So there's 4 areas of the brain that people have to process through for long-term change. Here's where the human behavior comes in. We're going to teach this at the upcoming boot camp, Perfect Day 1 Day 2. When people come in, we talked about it. Why do they go to a doctor? Because they have a problem they can't solve. Now, there's 2 problems they have. First of all, if they're brand new to chiropractic or your patient didn't refer them in for health problems, they're coming in because of pain. So they have an injury. What's that mean? I can't function on the level that I want to do. My back hurts, right? I can't do those things. Massive survival. Even if it's chronic pain, if they're coming to you, no, they're in fight or flight. They may not talk to you like they're in fight or flight, but this is where they are. If they come to you anytime they seek the help of a doctor to resolve some type of issue, they are automatically in fight or flight. Now, what's fascinating about fight or flight? Your amygdala, the fight or flight center, is not connected to your frontal lobe. The more the amygdala is firing off like the 4th of July, the less they can understand language. Now, remember from day 1, words are only 7% of influence as it is. Now you fire off the amygdala like New Year's Eve and you expect them to understand what you're saying. They don't get it and they don't care. And they don't even understand what the hell you're talking about anyway. They can't process it. And that's why when a person walks in 9 out of 10 out of pain, they can't listen. So how do you get them out of the amygdala? Trust. How do you do that? Multiple agreements, talking about their values. There's a whole system. We guide them through that in the scripts. You align with their personality, you align with their purpose and their values. We show you how to do all that in the boot camps and on the online program, Secret Seven-Figure Lifestyle. Then, once they're out of pain and they're not completely in survival, step 2 is the avoidance of pain. Pain only initiates change. So the avoidance of pain is not long-term change. The avoidance of pain is very short-term. Anything associated with pain, whether it's physical or emotional, is short-term change. Now, this is where chiropractic blew it. And this is the problem, because what was I taught? I'm sure we've all done this by other management groups. Well, Miss Jones, if you quit, your pains are going to come back. Well, you're going to have this, and this is going to come back, and this is going to come back. And then think about it. Okay. Mark, Jose, Susie, anybody else who's listening to this recording, because I know you're cheating because you got the recording, although live is pretty cool. How many patients have you said, well, if you quit, it's all going to come back? I probably had about at least 5,000. Did one person go, oh, I never thought of that? You're absolutely right. So I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And by the way, can I bring in my kids? Because they have a spinal nervous system. We don't want them to have any pain. Not one. I can't remember one individual out of thousands that I said that to that it worked. Why? Because management groups didn't spend the time to figure it out. So, and I say this as a resume. I mean, I'm the only person that I know that has studied human behavior this long. Now, there's other coaches that have, and they use it on their clients, but they don't teach it. I could name names, but I won't. They use it on their clients to build things, but they don't teach you how to use it on your patients because they never applied it that way. They didn't put it together. I learned it to build my practice. And then that day I saw 231 and I'm like, shoot, man, maybe I could set my goal as 300 a day. I'm going to add 70 more people a day in 90 days. And I absolutely know it is going to happen. And then I thought 300 a day, I got 10,000 people driving by my office. You guys have heard this. And I'm like, and then I prayed over my schedule, not of how to see 231. I prayed over my schedule and said, there's got to be something bigger. Am I going to, that was before videos, social media. I don't believe I can change healthcare just in my practice. A year and a half later, I was coaching. Number 3, it has to be easy. If it's not easy, they're not going to stay. Now, this is the weekly intention sheet. So it's got to be easy. So what's not easy? People that'll say, I'll call. Every time they have to make a decision, it's emotional work. Well, you know what? I'll call you on Wednesday. You know what? I'll call you on. Look at all those decisions. Paying as they go. Too many financial decisions. That's not easy. They should be scheduled to the next re-exam. There are systems that make it so easy. And when it's so easy, especially for your front desk, to take care of so many people without expending any more energy, you can double, triple, go whatever level you want. Now, the phone may be ringing a little bit more, but the conversations are different. You don't have as many people rescheduling. This is all the systems of how we create the person that make their appointments, stick to their schedule. They have a purpose. They don't miss, because when it's easy, they'll come forever. 4, here's permanent change. Permanent change is about pleasure. And that's what we're going to go through today. 7-step ROF. 1, if you want to create a lifestyle patient, they have to see it as an investment in the life they want, not that they need. It's the life they want. We talked about that. You're bringing them into an unstoppable state, so that means you have to be unstoppable first. People become unstoppable when they are clear on their values and purpose. I'm going to show you how to do that. Purpose saturates the brain with dopamine. Dopamine is associated with purpose, right? Dopamine gives you courage. What's courage do? Get you over time and money. Dopamine gives you motivation. What's motivation do? Get you over time and money. Dopamine gives you inspiration, in the Greek is entheos, in God, and the ability to take action. We want massive dopamine before we give them time and money. That the workshop is about dopamine. It's about moving away from pain and moving into massive pleasure. That's why we have them do these goals about 3/4 of the way through the workshop. Okay. Have patients write 20, 30 health goals, about 70% through the new patient workshop. Direct them to write qualified long-term goals. They have to be 20 to 30. Well, I want to lose 10 pounds. That's short term. Well, I want to run a marathon. Short term. I want to be running marathons all over the country, when I'm, for the next 20 years, long term. So here's questions that you can direct them. What do you want your health to be like 20 to 30 years from now? What do you want to be doing 20 and 30 years? Now, people don't buy what they do, but if you look at what they're doing and you find out why they want to do it, you're going to get to their values and purpose. What's going to be the most important thing to you in the next 30 years? Notice, what are we doing? Look at that. We're setting a plan for life. What purpose do you want to be fulfilling in 30 years? Man, when you get the answers to these questions. So here's the thing. Here's what's so cool about coaching. Coaching isn't about knowing everything. It's about letting the patient, client, tell you what they want. But you have to bring them into the mindset that what they want is an infinite game. You bring them into an infinite mindset. And then when they get there, they're going to write different things. Well, that's generational patterns. Trust me, we're giving them that purpose right from day one. So your mindset is you don't care what people do. Now, why is that? Because you want to know why they do it. Why do you want to do it? Because emotions drive behavior. If you want to change behavior or a belief system, you have to change the emotion that's driving that behavior. So it's not what they do, it's why they do it. That's what you want to know. And that takes insatiable curiosity. The goals are merely a tool. What they write is merely a tool to understand who they are, what matters to them. So you want to know who the person is, who wrote the goals, and why. Who's the person? What's the mindset? What's the vision? That's what we want to talk about. What emotions are driving that? You're looking for their values and purpose. Now, they're not going to tell you their values and purpose, but they will tell you what they want to do. And they will tell you their purpose on the last question. They will tell you what they want their health to be like. When you align with their purpose, they become unstoppable. Man, you want to soak their brain in dopamine, soak their whole nervous system. Their spinal cord should be the freaking Niagara Falls of dopamine. They become unstoppable, right? So you become a professional self-empowerment coach. Always put them into an unstoppable state before. I want to make that word before about 10 times bigger and underline it about 100 times. Before you read the next part of the sentence, before you give them time and money. Time and money doesn't matter at 1,000 feet. It's a massive brick wall at 10 feet. So get to 1,000 feet. Long-term change is about pleasure that stems from purpose. Proverbs 29:18, where there's no vision, people perish. Now, here's the thing. I saw this once a while ago. 85% of the population don't write goals. That means they don't have a vision. I mean, they may know what they want, they may think about it, but if they don't write it down, and then you look at if only 15% write it, how many people read them? Right? So you're dealing with a small percent. That's why you have to coach them into their vision. And then you have to make them feel it. If they can't feel the dopamine and the inspiration and the purpose and alignment, and you completely understand them and they're inspired and they feel their spirit, they're going to have an objection. You think, how do I do that? Well, we're going to show you. Now, I can show you, kind of skim the surface on how to do it. And this is in the retention boot camp, January 24th, 25th. We spend 3 hours. You're like, no, 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 don't do 3 hours now, please. You don't get it. I'm on the East Coast. It's already 9:30. People need a long-term vision with personal purpose, right? So you got to build value for your program, really the plan. That's what it is. Okay. So how do you do that? Well, you have to establish a positive identity for all people. What's that mean? You have to see the best in them and talk about it. You speak into them the behavior that you want to see. And that's what you do. Reinforce the identity and behaviors you desire to produce. So you guys are like, well, what's that mean? I know you've been to it before, you guys. For the people who haven't been to that boot camp yet, or aren't on this secret seven-figure lifestyle practice, what's speaking identity, Mr. Jones? You're a man. What are men? What's men's value and purpose? Protect the family. What's a woman? Nurture the family. So Mr. Jones, Jim, whatever. Hey, you're the protector of the family. You're the man. You want to make sure your family's secure, they're safe, and you provide them with a great life. Would you agree? 3 key words. Absolutely. Right? So if your family, if there's a health problem in your family, man, you got to do whatever it takes. And when you find the right answer, you become unstoppable because you'll do anything to make sure your family doesn't end up in disease. More importantly, I mean, not even more importantly, also bankruptcy. We talk about that in the workshop. I don't know what the stat is now. I have to look it up. When I looked it up years ago, I think it was 78% of all bankruptcies are health related. After COVID, it's probably pushing 90s. So we go over that in the workshop. Why? Why will a husband not will negate paying for a program for the health of their wife? Because their value and purpose of protecting the finances of the family becomes more important. It's not that it's more important than their health. He's stuck on a rule. He's stuck on a value. And because they get stuck on one, they don't see the other one. And that's how you handle it. You got to reinforce the behavior you want to see by dealing with different values. And there's a whole way to go through that. We go through that more in boot camp too. So building value, put the focus on value creation. The most important person in negotiation is one that provides the most value in the future. Business is about future value creation. This is direct from business mastery. That's why when they set 20 and 30-year health and life goals, that's about as much future, right? What's even more future than that? Generational patterns. You got to speak about the kids that aren't born yet. That's where you break patterns. That's where you change healthcare, right? So, no, future value creation is the one that has the most influence in a negotiation. What's a negotiation? Time and money. So, step one, qualify their 20 and 30-year health and life goals. Got to qualify and make sure they're good health goals. What else in your life would you have changed? We're going to go through these. Can you reach these goals if you allow your condition to progress? Then you give them the health recovery plan, time. Then you handle any objections on time. Once they're above time, they got to be 1,000% committed on time, or don't send them into a financial. A financial will fail if they are not 1,000% committed on time. So one of the ways we enhance that commitment is they sign the health recovery plan, and then you talk to them about the prepay plan. So let's go through this. Qualify their goals. We're gonna rock and roll through these pretty quick. It's already 6:45. Qualify their health goals. Are they acceptable long-term goals? Read their goals and look for common themes. No, so we already went through that. Are they 20 and 30 year? The 4 questions we have that you're going to guide them in the workshop are definitely will guide them towards long-term goals. Now you read them and you look for common themes. What are you going to look for? Maybe they want to be leaders in their church. They're probably both going to have goals for their kids. How do they want to run their family? You know, they may both want to travel. Now they're going to have their own individual goals. They probably have already made goals on health and fitness. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. So this is a marriage counseling. You have to bring them together. Now, if 2 people are married, they tend to have a vision for their life. They tend to have a common vision, and hopefully the reason they got married is they have common core values. So you're looking for the core values and you're looking for the common themes because you're going to bring them together. Now, when they're together and you bring them, you create unity as one person, then not only will you sign up the spouse, but you're going to sign up the kids. And if they have generational patterns, and who else in their family, not their kids, but extended family has this, because they're bringing 2 patterns into their kids, into the next generation. Speak to who they are. Who's the person writing these goals? You're not using the talking about the goals. They don't get motivated. Even though they wrote them, it's not motivating. What's motivating is why they wrote their goals. That's inspiration. Why are they writing them? Are they moving toward or away? Are they telling you what they don't want to have? Connect with the patient spouse because it's both of their lives. You're going to change their whole family. Examples: I want to travel with my wife and family. I want to be healthy. Some people will say, I want to be pain free. Now, if they ever use, like, look at that. I want to be healthy. I want to be pain free. When someone says anything they want, what they're not saying is, I don't have it now. And that's what you talk about. I want to be pain free. Well, you want to be pain free because you know you're suffering right now. And you don't want to do that. Not only pain free, you want to have confidence in the strength and health of your body for the rest of your life. Right? So that's the default statement for pain. They don't want to have cancer. Now, you guys know this if you've been an elite, if you're listening to the recording and you haven't, whatever they don't want, you guys know this. They either had it in the past or they have someone close to them that's had it. So if someone says, I don't want to have cancer, was that you or someone else? It was my mom. Did your mom pass? Yes or no, right? No, well, you saw her suffer, and that's scary. So not only do you not want her to suffer, but immune system problems and disease like cancer are also generational patterns. So you're worried about that. But you'll do whatever it takes so you never end up like that. And you'll do whatever it takes to make sure none of your kids or their kids or their kids or their kids ever end up like that. Would you agree? Absolutely. What did I just talk about? Generations. Some people write, I don't want to be a burden to my kids. Why would they write that? Because they saw a parent that was disabled, probably when they were kids. How many kids? It's such a common story, right? I saw my mom was sick all the time. She couldn't take care of us. We had to take care of her, blah, 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 right? That's their emotional story. Be involved in my church, leadership. They want to lead people to Christ. That is I use the word church. That is a sole purpose. That's huge. They'll say yes to anything you say with that. Be physically fit, active athlete. Any athletic goals? Well, what do they look like now? I mean, is that their life right now? Now, if they want to do that, but they're not like that, that's because they don't have any confidence in the strength, health, of their body. And they know they're aging. And if I don't do something, I'm going to be weak and die. If they're already fit and active, that's an identity. So what would I do? I would talk about their identity. This is who you are. You like being strong. What's their value? I'd be like, with me, hey, work out 6 days a week. Why? If they ask, why do you do that? I say I have a purpose. My body needs to be strong. I like knowing I can do whatever I want, basically when I want. I make healthier decisions than I did when I was young. But I like the fact that I'm strong. I like the fact that if something happens at home and I gotta lift it, I can. I like the fact that I can count on the strength and health of my body. And I like the fact that I know the stronger I am with a healthy spine and nervous system, the longer I'm going to live, be functional, travel around the world, and make a difference in the world. Right? But that would be my purpose. Now, if I said that, I wouldn't be talking about the strength of my body to me. I'd be talking about the purpose because I just told you what my inspiration is. Now, to fulfill my purpose, I have to be unstoppable in my body. Two important questions. Why is that important to you? Well, why would a person want to travel around the world with their wife? Not just because they want to see the world, but maybe now, finally, our kids are gone. Now we get to enjoy each other. We get to rebuild our relationship. Mostly, it's memories, right? If they want to travel with their family, it's the memories you create. I know Molly and her daughter, when they travel for volleyball, they'll remember that forever. The two of them in a hotel room going through that experience, right? What purpose would that fulfill? There's a purpose in there. So those are questions. If you don't know what it is, first of all, don't do that for every goal. Look for the common themes. They may have 3 or 4 health goals. So don't ask those questions for every goal. By the way, if you don't know how to find values and purpose and to be able to read the person and why they would write those goals, values, then purpose. Purpose is the highest inspiration. Values is right under it. So you climb the ladder toward purpose. When you get better at this and you can read people, which we teach you how to do over time, when you tell them their values and purpose, they connect more. If they have to give you the answer, they'll still connect. But when you tell them accurately because you see who they are, massive heart spirit connection. That's why they'll go with you because they know you totally get them. And, there's not a lot of people in a person's life that they can say 100% they get me. This is from Tony Robbins, Mastering Influence. Influence happens in a moment that relates to a deep desire. It happens when? What time frame? A moment happens right now, and that is your job, to create that moment. Influence associates the most inspired desire, purpose, to your product or service. That's why we do this, because their health is a way they fulfill their purpose. And that's why your mantra is a person with their health has 1,000 dreams. A person without it has one. If a person is fighting for their life, that's not their purpose. They're not going to be able to fulfill their purpose. And so now, in order to fulfill their purpose, their health has to be amazing. Qualify their goals, always connect with the patient and spouse. You go, and so here's step 1. So what you got to do is when you find their purpose, you got to get them to 1,000 feet where you are. Right? Mr. Jones, you want to be a leader in a church. Man, that's the sole purpose. Right? You found Christ, whatever. We're using this as a metaphorical example. You found Christ, changed your life. So you believe that, and you believe everybody that you can bring to God, they're going to have a better life. And like the prayer says, thy will be done on heaven and earth. You're creating people that will have a better life, and that's your purpose. Why? Because you want to share what it did for you. Would you agree that's a big reason? Do you believe that's why you're here in this life? And you started with your family, right? How committed are you to that? So what am I going to do? I'm going to tell a story and speak into him his purpose, because he may not have thought it that way. He could have the feeling, but most people don't know how to put it into words because you are living your purpose, you know how to put it into words. So when you put it into words and they align with it 1,000%, you're looking for superlative commitment words. How committed are you? 100%? That's not high enough. They say 100%, that's a good answer. It's a great answer, but it's not a superlative answer. 100%, you're talking about bringing people to God so they can change their whole life. That's like 1,000%. Would you agree? And they'll go, absolutely. You're looking for absolutely those kind of words. No good, mediocre words are not 1,000 feet. That's maybe 300 feet. 300 feet, they still have objections. 1,000 feet, nothing exists. If you look at an eagle at 1,000 feet, they can see the horizon. That's why you have to see with insight, not with eyesight. You're going through 30-year goals. They have to see the horizon. They have to be at 1,000 feet with you. Get the highest commitment, and everything else is easy. When you do this and get them to 1,000 feet, 7 steps goes by in maybe 5 minutes. So now we're going to make the association, right? What's your health have to look like? If you're 1,000% committed, what's your health have to be like to be a leader and bring people to God, to be healthy for your whole life, to fulfill your purpose in chiropractic, to make generational changes in your family? Now, whatever superlative word they use for step 1, they have to use the same or an equal superlative word for their health. They have to put their health in an unstoppable peak state. Now, so if you're going to do that, what's the most important thing in your life? As soon as they say, my health's got to be freaking amazing, as soon as they say that, so then what's the most important thing in your life for you to be the leader that you want to be? Well, whatever, this is the generic script just to give you a template. But what you're going to do is repeat their purpose. So if you're going to do this and your health has to be absolutely amazing, what's the most important aspect of your life? And then they say their health. That's the association you're making. Their health in a chiropractic lifestyle is how they fulfill their purpose. They're not buying a program. They're buying their life and soul purpose. Examples of possible goals. So that's how, I just went through those. What else in your life would you have to change? That's only maybe your functional medicine. Maybe you have a weight loss program. Hey, we're giving I need to maybe have nutritional programs. Okay, we're doing a workshop next week. Just sign it up at the front desk. So this is whatever you have. This is where you just introduce it. You don't lay out the program. They have to get chiropractic first. Okay, make it easy. Don't put a bunch of energy on it because you're going to come back to it in more detail. Now, step 3, what's the purpose? Can you reach these goals and allow your condition to progress? Notice this is a templated statement, but what you're going to do is talk about the purpose. Can you be the leader? Can you lead all the people to God that you need to lead? And it's not if you allow your condition to progress. That's too general. You point to their x-rays because you got their x-rays up. And you say, if you allow your health to continue to break down and your body continue to weaken progressively every day, unless you do something to change it right now. Now, why do we do this? Because before a person can say yes to something, they have to say no to what they've already done. What this does is it moves them away from what they've done. Now, you've already moved them away by what they weren't told, blah, 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 blah. And that's where what they weren't told, did your doctor tell you? How do you feel about that? What cost have you paid day 1, day 2? Are you ever going to go back? If you've been to 12 MDs already, would you agree medicine is never going to get you where you want to go? And you're going to continue to suffer unless you do something different. Would you agree? Are you ever going back there again? No. That's chiropractic lifestyle patient. So you got to get them to say no to what they've already done. That's why when they do that, then you make the recommend. Then you talk about, geez, Then you talk about the program. Can you reach his goal, activities, progress? They have to say they don't want to stay where they're at. When you know their purpose, it's not about it's about not fulfilling their purpose if they don't make a massive change right now. So once they get to that peak state, and then you're pulling the carpet under their feet, they're like, "Shine that noise, man! I'm already going 100 miles an hour in this new direction." Your initial corrective program is how they begin to fulfill their life purpose, not how they begin to fix their spine. No, how they begin to fulfill their life purpose. Lifestyle is how they live it. Chiropractic lifestyle. Purpose makes them unstoppable, man. Flood them with dopamine. So now, when you go through the health recovery plan, this is so important. The reasons for the phases of care. So before you go through the recommendations, they have to know the reason. One of the reasons people balk is because they don't know why. When they know why, they comply. Okay, intensive care, right? What happened? Your posture is weak, spinal cord's under stress, you're not getting energy in your body. So we got to transition your posture and body out of the immediate structural, neurological, and health crisis, get energy back in your body and get your body healing as quickly as possible. Now, to do that, we need to see you every day for the first week. Hey, you've already been here 3 times. You're already seeing changes in your energy. You're already improving. You're already breathing better from your asthma. Your body loves this program, and you're already healing. Now, once you can hold that posture for 24 hours, we're going to go 3 times a week. Now, in the workshop, you've already explained all this. And that means we're going to strengthen your body towards your new posture as you recover your health. Notice toward, right? Health recovery. And then you tell them, come 3 times a week. We're going to reevaluate you every month. We're going to re-x-ray you in 3 months. In 3 months, well, first of all, you got to get to 90% correction for lifelong health, so your spinal cord can carry energy on its own, and you have to have 90% resolution of all your health conditions. When x-ray in 3 months, we see an average of 40%. So if you're 40%, we're going to go another 3 months. When you get to 90%, we're going to confirm that, and then we're going to go to stabilization. That's where you come once a week. We're going to monitor your strength and stability of your new posture while we monitor your progression toward optimal health. That's once a week. We do that for 6 months. Total number, total visits, total time, right? And that's how you make the recommendations. The more specific you are with the outcomes and the process, the more successful you'll be. They'll understand it. Okay, I get it. And you already went through all this in the workshop. So now you give them the health recovery plan. The team, everyone on your team must know this language. They have to know it verbatim because that's how they support it. That's why they come Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Correction and stabilization must refer to as recovering your health, not only getting healthy, right? They're not healthy during correction. They're recovering their health. Optimal health begins when they get in the Lifetime Health Club. That's after stabilization. That's another whole thing, having your Lifetime Health Club ball and a reward. Capiche? They have to get 90% correction, 90% resolution of all health problems first. That is the health recovery plan, right? So intensive care every day until they hold the posture 24 hours. You're concerned with how they're healing, not how they're feeling. They're spending more time in the state of healing or the state of disease. That means, are they making their appointments? Corrective care is 3 times a week. It's spread through the week. They have to pick the day and time that they're going to come consistently. Why? Because those are the people that get the best results, and that makes it easy. Now they hold their posture for 24 to 36 hours. We go through all of this in Secrets of 7-Figure Lifestyle videos. So how do you want to live? State of healing or state of disease, right? Re-examine every 48, every 30 days. We do it in 40 recommendations, the plan in 40 visit increments. Expect to see 30 to 50%. We went through this. They have to have absolute certainty in time and money. Now 90% correction has to be confirmed on x-ray. Stabilization, transition to once a week for 6 months. Lifetime Health Club. Lifetime Health Club Because after stabilization, that's day one of the rest of your life. That's their goal, right? Monitor strength and stability. Went through this. Once your spine and nervous system are stable, energy is moving in there. We'll evaluate your level of correction and lifestyle, set you up on a program to keep you and your family healthy for the rest of your lives. And I would add, and generations to come. Then after all that, and they agree to it, and it's in writing, so they see it, and it looks simple because it's easy, is your health and bringing people to God, creating memories with your family, blah, 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 blah. Enough for priority to go through this program. Give you and your family a new life. Right? Yeah. If they say, how much does it cost? Ms. Jones, we have plans that everyone can afford. When people put their health top priority, I know it's foundation and know it's foundation of the whole life. We work out the money to get it back. Hey, that's where it's like, look, we told you about the platinum plan. That's the plan with the most benefits and services for the least amount of money. We actually give you a credit, and we make this as easy as possible financially because your conviction to changing generational pattern is more important to us. So is this if you're going to do the program or how you're going to do the program, right? They got to be 100% committed at time or money won't work. Do not send an unqualified person in time into a financial. Do not do that. Remember, they already gave you the 2030 health and life goals. Talk about their life purpose, remind them of their life purpose. That's what they're buying. Now, all the way up until the financial, you're in the third principle. How do you want to live? Well, and this is where we go through more in the boot camp and, well, that's a lot of time. Yeah, I know. But guess what? You're 46 years old. You got 19 health problems. If you can turn your health around and reverse the damage in 46 years and 6 months, is that a lot of time or is that a miracle? Is that like an instantaneous miracle in a lifetime? And if you do this for 1 year, take care of your spine and nervous system for the rest of your life, you get 50 years of health for 6 months and 3 times a week. Are you telling me 6 months isn't worth 50 years? Because you had a kid. How old's your kid? 16. How many years are you going to be a parent? The rest of my life. Oh, so you are used to long-term, lifelong commitments. Yeah, this is a lot like that. Handle the objections, which there won't be if you've done everything from day one, new patient tour, patient application, blah, blah, blah. This is so smooth. They sign the health recovery plan, patient and spouse. That's a sign of commitment. So they sign it. By signing this, you both agree, you understand the program, you're committed to following your step. You want to recover your health as quickly as possible. You want to live an amazing life. This is why you're doing this, so you and your wife can live this life together. You can have the optimal confidence, great confidence and strength and health of your body. You won't have to worry about disease. You will take care of your family. And you can live the life God created for you. That's why you're doing this. Would you agree? What did I do? I spoke into them the belief system, the inspiration and purpose that I wanted to see. Miss Jones, you're going to give your wife total support and encouragement, complete every step. Would you agree? Then both patient and spouse sign the sheet. And then you ask the spouse, did you make an appointment? Because you did a close at the end of the workshop. Introduce platinum plan, keep their folks on prepaying for the full commitment. Hey, now you've qualified for the platinum plan. Hey, myself and my financial assistant, manager, whatever, Megan, whatever her name is, creates a plan just for you to recover your health as quickly as possible. And we're going to give you the most value for your lowest investment. We're going to make this so easy. You guys are going to be thrilled. This is the plan you're going to want. Ask Megan about the platinum plan. What am I doing? I'm speaking into them the behavior that I want to see. You're going to love this plan. You're amazing. Blah, 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 blah. Walk the patient to the financial person. Give them a brief description of their purposes so the financial person can keep them at 1,000 feet. Financial will go in 3 minutes. Qualify the platinum plan. I think we already did this, right? There you go. How cool is that? So there you go. So take my number down, being that I took it away so fast, but you get it on the other recordings. Thanks for hanging with me. I know it went a little bit long. When you master this, this is where you sign up families. When you do a great close, once they sign that thing and they're committed and you did a close, and let's say they're the fourth person, so they've already gone up and signed up the spouse. Hey, Jim, did you sign up? Absolutely. When am I going to see you? Tomorrow. What time? 10:30. Okay, I look forward to it. By the way, what about your 3 kids? Did you sign that up? Well, I think we're going to wait. And that's where we show you how to handle that. So they just go out and sign them up on the way out. When you master this and you master the follow-up, you don't need, this is your marketing. You turn 1 into 3 and 5 and generational patterns. And my God, man, this is how I added 110 people a day. Trust me, on that day, I looked at my schedule and there was 232 or whatever, 231 patients. We added 110 people a day in 5 months. I didn't even know where they were coming from, right? Did a day 3 system, mastered the workshop, the sign up, the follow up, and then mastered the re-exam to keep them. And man, when you keep them and you just add them 3 and 5 at a time, geez, man, you better start getting more attraction equipment and more space. Where are the recordings? They're emailed to you so you can review every day. So today we're sending out, today we sent out Tuesday we sent out Mondays. Wednesday, we sent out Tuesdays. Today, we sent out Wednesdays. You get the basic idea. Tomorrow, check your email. We also send out the Zoom link for you to get back on here. So you have 5. Now, here's what we're going to do, Mark. We're going to make this easy. Next week, we're going to put all 5 into a bundle and email them out. So you'll get all 5 recordings. Hey, cool. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you. Thanks, Mark. You're going to get all 5 recordings. And so just review them all you want. And hey, Andrew and Mark, call me, man. Or if you're listening to this on the recorded view, just freaking call me. I'll help you. If you never did anything with Elite other than be on these programs, if you, like I said, if you take one thing and you master one thing out of every day, you're going to create a practice bigger than you thought that's easier. Yeah, cool. All right. I'll look forward to it. All right, you guys, have a great night. Love and appreciate you all. Love your commitment and purpose. And we'll see you tomorrow, man. Tomorrow's going to be a big overview of the whole thing. All right, peace. Take care.